All right, guys. So we're doing a World Championship recap, right? 2021 FIDE World Championship uh, recap. Okay, so we got Magnus playing Jan Nepomniachtchi, and Magnus played black, right? So Magnus played black. So I wasn't able to catch. I actually was asleep. Remember, I was streaming, and then I was supposed to get up, and I was like, my body was like, my mind was like, yo, let's get up, but my body was like, nah, bro,
Bruh.
you need to stay down. So I stayed down. And I got up, went to the gym, got my work done, chest work for the day, and then finally caught some of the end and caught the result. But we about to check it right now to look at it, talk about a little bit of everything else, and go from there. So here we go, y'all. Let's get it. All right, first off, I do know it was E4, right? So how many of y'all was expecting E4, right? E4. Now, I promise you, no matter what move he would have played, I would have did the same exact thing. I'm just telling you right now, it would have been no different. So E4 on the board here. Okay, after E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, right, Roy Lopez. Okay. So, and I know that's exactly what happened. E4 always draws in world championships. D4 for the win, says Rive. Bishop B5, right? So we got boom. Okay, we got a Roy. Classic Roy here. Roy Lopez, Roy Lopezi, Big Roy, whatever you want to call it. Okay, we got a Roy Lopez. A6. I played this from black side. It's been played all the way since the days of Big Cap. Okay, Capablanca and Aliekin and all them boys, right? You know, the big dogs. It's been played forever, right? So A6, Bishop A4, Knight F6, right? Okay, castles. I'm looking at it from Magnus' point of view because I am Team Magnus. Let's go. Shoo! Team Magnus. Let's go. Hit analysis to make it bigger. Oh, really? We can do that? Oh, shoot. You're right. Dang, bro. Yo, big shout out to Rive. Shout out to Rive one time. Like, I didn't even know this. Didn't even know this. Well, let's go. All right, so let's get back to it. Here. This is great here. Yeah, we keep these on. Keep these on. I do want to turn the lines off though. Right now, I like to analyze, like looking at it. Team Nepo, clap it up for Rive. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm like tripping. We've kind of flew through a lot of moves here. Let me flip backwards and go back. Okay, so after knight f6, here knight f6 hitting e4, right, castles, and then no Berlin. He just played bishop e7, regular Roy Lopez stuff. Literally all the moves. I mean, this is played rock solidly. D6, B5, right? You castle, you might go Breyer or Breyer with knight B8 or Shagorn with knight A5, C5. Then you castle. Sometimes you play G6, reroute the bishop after rook E8, bishop to G7. Spanish torture, right? They call it that. Lots of maneuvers. C3 happens, and then the bishop backs up to C2. Maybe D3, maybe D4. Knight D2, knight F1, knight G3. H3, sometimes G4. Rook E1. This always happens in every one of these Roys, right? All the time. It's good to understand the plans and get deep into the theory because you can go so many ways. So after bishop E7, white plays the rook E1, holding everything. B5 does happen. Bishop B3, castle, get out the way. Have a nice day. H3, right? Stopping the G4 stuff. It happens all the time. He plays knight A5. Going for the bishop one. So this one's different. And this right here, I would say, is a slight deviation or like a wow, yo, that's different. Because usually they play D6 to not give this pawn up. So in fact, in a way, it is a pawn sacrifice. Right now, this is like a pawn sacrifice. Okay? Just so you know that, big fella, he giving his boy up right now. Right. So this is kind of like, because this usually doesn't happen like that. You usually would see D6, then knight A5. But not just knight A5 immediately. So he definitely did some prep work here, I'm sure, obviously. Knight A5, knight takes E5, and knight takes B3. So what the compensation here is, after pawn takes, let's check this out. Was Magnus considering the marshal before H3? Probably not. I mean, and you have no, there's no accurate answer to be like, no, 100% he was considering to play the Archangel of the Roy Lopez. Like, that's not happening.
Bruh.
Ain't no way you about to know that. But we do know that in this, he definitely home cooked this. Knight A5, knight takes B3. After this, bishop B7 played. And here's a GM tip right now. It's giving you some out the door saber work right now. Okay, make sure you got the notes ready. A bishop pair is equal to a pawn. Many times, a bishop pair is equal to one pawn. So and so I'm down a pawn. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, pawns, 8 pawns for white, 7 for black. There's a doubled pawn, right? So yes, you're up a pawn, but it's also doubled. And I have the bishop pair. So I have more than enough, what they say, what do they call it, compensation for this pawn that I'm down right now. Thanks for the follow, Juborki. So that's the whole plans. That's the whole idea of what's going on, right? Okay, so we know what we understand. D3, this is rock solid. He says, not anymore. Open up, big fella. Open up shop. Take those. I take right back. Now we got the pressure, right? He plays queen F3, get him off the board. And he says, well, first off, I mean, a good trade immediately, which is, you know, what a trade here. Queen F3. What a trade here. You know, that's amazing. F3 just seems gross for the structure. After Queen F3, I'm curious. Maybe because he takes on E7, and you don't have time to take this because of this. I think that's probably it. Let's see. So if I take, knight takes, and then rook F to E8, right? And you don't have time to damage the structure. And white's still up a pawn. So that's not what he really wanted. So he played bishop D6, saying that, cool, I'm gonna just keep the pressure up on you. And then king F1, like king F, let me see where that is in the engine, bro. Bro, king F, dog. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Number one? Like, number one on the engine. King F1. Dog. Are you kidding me right now? This man, like, he came to play. I ain't gonna lie. That's impressive. King F1. Number one on the engine. King F1 confirmed. King F1. All right, that was beautiful. And actually, like, what happens if, like, let me flip the board here. I really want to try to understand what is he looking at for him to play King F1. Well, you do have trade in mind. And then after trading, okay, knight takes. Can't I just develop my pieces? Oh, there's a knight b4 in there. And this is just kind of gross. I have to go like here first. Which this is playable. This is playable. This probably would have the route I would have went because there's so much pressure that I have to trade. I have to trade. King F1 is like unbelievable. King F1, like what the heck is that? Knight C3, I'm assuming it's just, wow, look at that. Queen takes E5. Woo, boy. This was nuts. I mean, yo, dog. This is like stuff they ain't talk about. They ain't tell you about this in your little opening books. Wow. All right, so King F1, Queen takes E5 doesn't work at all. But, oh, it does. You can take on B7 and then Queen H2. And you have this position. This would have been nuts. This would have been absolute chaos. And if check, then you have King E2 hitting the rook. Right, or rook hitting the queen. And after check, Bishop E3. And I'm still hitting the queen. And then after Queen H2, maybe we develop with Knight C3 or Knight D2. Something like that. Strange. Maybe the queen's trap. G3, sack a pawn. He comes out. I don't know. I mean, that could get freaking ridiculous. There's a lot going on in there. Okay. He didn't do that, though. None of that happened. None of that happened. But he did play that King F1, though. I mean, like a big boss would, because a big boss could. Bruh. Wow. Okay, King F1, Rook F to B8. Okay? He has a huge plan of just queenside play, obviously. Queen takes, knight takes. Bishop D2, because it's very annoying with this knight coming to B4. C5. Yeah, you have to expand. I love it. C5, just make the move. You have to do it, whatever. Make the move. Maybe some F6 in there, King F7. Consolidate. This is kind of annoying. The A5 square is annoying. We'll see what happens, though. No rush. You play Rook D8, right. No rush. No rush. Rook D8. Knight C3, Knight B4. No trades. We don't need to. Hit the weak pawn. The base. The base is always like the weakest. Base. Knight B4, boom. Hitting. Defend those. Rook A to C, boom. Everything all nice and defend it. Yes, you're up a pawn. says Magnus, but I got the double ups, like Hikaru say, right? I got the lasers here, the sabers, right? The double sabers. I got the bishops, and I'm down a pawn, and it's double. So here, at best, right, white is like slightly better, even though he's up a pawn, right? And if you see the evaluation here, the eval bar is 0.3, right? But I'm up a pawn, up a pawn, but you're not really up a pawn. What was rook? What was rook doing on e8? What was it doing on e8 or b8? Well, right now you're just trying to figure out what to do. Rooks love what? Open files. So you don't really have them. I mean, the only one that is open is this, and this is half. So you got to figure out, rook to f to b8. I think this move a lot is just, there's a lot to do, and you have to make a move. And this is very practical. It makes sense. Like look at all the options here, right? It's one of the moves. Rook f to b8. h6 is a move, right? And queen takes e5. But he chose the rook f to b8. Just keeping cards on the table here. Not really telling the hand yet. He moved it around a little bit. Rook c8 and brought the knight back to c6. Okay, bishop e3. Yeah, he's just maneuvering. This type of stuff, this is the hardest chess. The hardest part right here. This chess right here is the hardest. Because what's going on right now is them figuring out plans. And sometimes there is nothing yet. Sometimes you've done everything. So you just need to start rerouting stuff. And that's what 97 does. In this position, you got so many moves you can make. But 97 makes a lot of sense. It opens the bishop up. Knight f5, knight to d5. It looks good. 97, bishop f4. There you go. Boom. And this is where you got the double pawns here. Boom. Took those two, traded them. Rook c6, defending with rook f6 as well. So not only are you up a pawn, quotation marks, right? You got two sets of double pawns. You are here looking crazy. But you have a pawn though. You have a pawn though, my guy. Right. So you got to be very careful. Now, all of this has changed. Like this is, I remember tuning in like later on in the day when I was like, yo, this could get bad, bro. Magnus like this kind of stuff. Okay. Magnus love these kind of end games. But we'll see what happens. And with the white pieces, if I flip the board here, right, and actually when we can kind of get into that. I remember, what did it say? I watched a tweet, so I am on Twitter. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. But I'm on Twitter, so I was scrolling, looking to see what people was talking about World Championship. And I think they said about after talking to Jan, what I read, they were saying, how do you feel about after the match, after what happened, right? Because this ended basically in a draw. So this ended in a draw. Everybody knows this ended in a draw. So he said, he was like, I feel like how anyone would feel when you draw with the white pieces, which is kind of annoying, which is kind of annoying. And that kind of hurts. Says spoiler, yeah, but like, everybody knows like what happened already, right? But as you see this here, this is you can tell that this is not an easy game to play as white for the first game, and you get a draw. That's rough. Now you have to defend against Magnus after a draw with the white pieces in the first round. Doable, right? But I mean, easier said than done, right? So rook e1, hitting e7, the knight on e7. Is Magnus though? Exactly right. It's Magnus though. Easier said than done, my guy. Knight f5, c3, defending. I mean, this looks very strange, right? Just a pawn, a wall of pawns or pawn wall, whatever. c3, knight h4 hits the pawn right here. He defends it with rook e3. The best way. You also threatening a double, but really white's not advancing. White's not going anywhere. King f8, just to consolidate, getting the king around. He wanted to get rid of it. He said, nah, I'm going to bring it back. Right? And then I'm going to bolster it. G6, defend the knight. Defend the knight. Knight e1, also rerouting the knight, giving me more squares. Knight g7, I could go to e6 if I need to. You really don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm playing f6 next. Thanks for the follow. Knight g7 and then rook e4, f5. Boom. Tempo, or tempi. I mean, multiple tempi. F5, rook e3. Knight e6. He's just maneuvered. Got the knight from a worse square. It was very nice on f5, but now the pawn's there. Nice solid structure. Yes, I'm down a pawn, but you have two sets of double pawns. A terrible knight on e1. This rook, yes, okay, it's guarding. It's kind of active. This one only defending. I got pressure down the file. At the very least, right, I'm equal. The worst, I'm equal, to be honest. Right, at the very worst for black. Because it's too many weaknesses. It's too much going on. This knight's very active at a moment's notice, jumping right here, being able to pick off one of these. And if, play wrong, I could queen myself, right? So you have to be careful. Knight e6, knight to g2, b4. And I thought this move was brilliant and beautiful by Magnus here. And now you see the evaluation is actually switching to black. I mean, let's put a big boy b4. Because this is a strong move. This is so strong, right? Because b4 is so strong. Because if you take, you have huge problems now. You have huge problems. I'm coming into the second rank. I'm crying. Like all this stuff is weak. Everything's weak, and we can go on to maybe even win this game. To be honest, then if you push past, well, then look at this square. I mean, I could put anything here. This is my square for the rest of the game. I mean, this automatically wins the pawn, right? Basically, getting my pawn back right now. It's crazy. You couldn't push it. B4 was very nice, and I was like, oh snap, this could be bad. This is when I was like, dang, this is slipping away from Nepo, as in like. I thought he has a slight edge because he is up the pawn, but it's doubled. But I'm like, oh, snap. Then I saw b4, and I'm like, oh, Magnus, this is... I was like, in this moment, I knew Magnus was about to win this game. But he did win the game. Bruh. But we thought he was going to. Like, I mean, b4 was definitely like, uh-oh, Magnus. He's the type. This is his type of game, right? King e2, he likes to grind like this. Rook b8, threatening this and this. King d2, found a nice little tactic because after rook takes. King c2, so now I got my pawn back, right? Now Magnus got the pawn back. And then h4, and now look at this. Look at the position now. Okay, yes, whatever. I got my pawn back, and, this is not the healthiest pawn. This one isn't either. Knight's not the greatest, right? It feels like black's definitely pushing for more now. Definitely. And after king f7, rook e to e1, king f6, brought the king up to nice placement. Knight e3, making the knight better, maybe even knight d5. Rook d7, stopping knight d5. Knight c4, threatening. I mean, very nice. Rook e7, knight e5. And he played very good here. He played extremely good. h4 is really hard to come up with. Yeah. Yeah, that was nice. It stops the counterplay. Knight to c4, and then this is where they repeat it. Wow, yeah, he kind of had to repeat there too. I mean, he didn't have to, but this is like, he couldn't find anything else in the position. Interesting. Yeah, he played h4 here because there's like some g5 action, f5. It also stops knight g5, right? That was hitting this. I mean, there was a lot of action there. I wonder if, well, it doesn't really work, does it? Like, look at this. I mean, this is a handy move. I'm that guy. I am that kind of guy. Knight d4. Look at this move, bro. You have to go like king d1. And then can I move knight b3 and just try to push? Like, I would have went for this. Knowing me, I probably would have went for this. I probably would have went for this. No lie. No lie. What's up, Max? How you doing, man? We doing well. Doing well, bro. Good to see you. Yeah, so all right. This is round 1 of the World Championship, y'all. Tomorrow will be round 2, right? Let's make sure. Hold on, let's pull that up again. Round 2 is November 27th, tomorrow. Game 2. Here's the times. If you're in Los Angeles, time 4:30 in the morning. Bruh. 4:30 in the morning. And then Eastern time over here, 7:30. Not so bad. Still gonna hit him with one of these. But it's 7:30 in the morning. Right, and then you got the other times here for wherever you are in your respective time in the world. You can see game 2 is going to be tomorrow, and we will be talking about that too.